and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here tonight, guys, as Barca have made their way to the Supercup final. We have recorded an important and vital victory here tonight against Athletic Club by 2-0, courtesy of goals from Gavi and Lamine Yamal. We're going to be talking all about the game, because even at the end of it there were a few moments where it looked like we might give it away, but we got the win that we desperately wanted. But it has been a really busy day. So also coming up today, along with the match review, we've got big news on Raphinha and Laporta's exchange. We've got big news as well on Dani Olmo's registration and on Ronald Araujo's future with the very latest rumours, guys. So get ready for it. It's been a big day at Barca, but one that mainly we can celebrate. Let's do this. Because even before the game kicked off tonight, guys, there was big news, just even in terms of the starting lineup tonight, because there was a shock when it came to the goalkeeper, because Wojciech Szczesny started again in goal there. He played recently, of course, making his debut for Barca in the Copa del Rey, and he started again tonight, and that was a very late decision by Hansi Flick, and that was made because this morning, in the activation session there on match day that Hansi Flick sees as a very important part of the match day routine, Iñaki Peña was 4 minutes late to that training session. And as a result, Flick understood that he'd made a mistake with the timings there, that of course it wasn't malicious or anything like that, but there's examples that need to be set, and certainly here he sent out another message. It won't be tolerated. He dropped Iñaki Peña from the lineup. Szczesny started, and as we're going to talk about, did very, very well, I thought. And other than that there in the lineup, guys, it was exactly as we expected in the match preview, with Yamal indeed getting the start on the night. It was Pedri, though, who played maybe a little bit more withdrawn. Gavi was pushed on, and boy, did we get the reward for that. Because if you are looking at that very first Barcelona goal, I thought we started the game pretty well, guys. You know, created quite a lot of chances there in the early exchanges, started as we meant to go on. And you look at Raphinha in this first goal, he is very, very important there in the build. He does really, really well to win the ball first. He wins that 50-50 battle, then plays the ball on with the outside of his foot to Pedri. And what I love about Pedri there, the way that he plays the game, he carries the ball forward there, and he knows the precise and perfect moment to just move it on. You know, some players in those situations, they've got a lot of options. You know, there's plenty of players that you could pass to. They could get caught in two minds, but Pedri there keeps everything nice and simple, moves the ball on to Alejandro Balde, and again, look at the players there arriving into the penalty area there. Barcelona shirts, that's what you want to see. You know, we want a real urgency and a desire to get yourselves forward there, get into a scoring position, and Balde has plenty to aim for. He too keeps it nice and simple, low cross there, really accurate into the penalty area. Gavi is on the end of it, and you gotta say, really, really nice finish there. Very calm past the goalkeeper, and I've also gotta say, I'm really happy for Gavi now. He's starting again to get some momentum in this team, to start really affecting things in the final third, as we know that he can. He's got so much ability, and every single game now you feel as though he's working his way more and more and more into this starting lineup. That's absolutely fantastic to see. He also seems to absolutely love playing in the Super Cup. You know, he's had some great memories, great performances in this competition, and I also liked as well his celebration on the night there. He took a moment out of that very special moment for him to actually dedicate the goal there to Dani Olmo with the celebration. That was a really, really nice touch, and I think even in the stands he was sitting alongside Christensen, actually. Dani Olmo, even he enjoyed that one. We're going to be talking about the good news surrounding him in just a moment's time, but I think overall in that first half, guys, you're looking at the way that Barcelona played, it was solid. I think again in front of goal, we lack the clinical touch. You know, even in that first half, we could be further and further and further ahead. Raphinha had some really, really good chances there in that first half. How he has come away from today's game without scoring, I do not know. But again, the promise is there. We do create chances, we do create opportunities, and we are pretty solid defensively. The only real moment of concern came after we'd scored. You know, we lost a little bit of control, and then Szczesny did have to make some saves. And in tonight's game, guys, I would give him real credit. You know, he's come in at the last minute, probably didn't expect to start, but he's a really, really good professional, good player to have around the club, and he made a fantastic save before half-time there. Low cross into the box, Iñaki Peña, it's close range, That is a top save there. And what he does, and what I really like about this is, he makes himself big. You know, he really does impose himself in that kind of area. We haven't often seen that too much from Barcelona goalkeepers in terms of that stature in the goal. Really, really good save, point blank range, and at a vital time in the game. Tonight for me, Szczesny did well. He coped well, and at the end of it all, you've got to say, he has a clean sheet to his name. But indeed, guys, of course it was only 7 minutes into the second half that it took Barca to double our advantage, and I absolutely love this goal as well. Lots to actually look at here with this one, because you look here, it's a loose pass from Athletic Club, and look at Inigo Martinez. Look here at the will, the sheer hunger to get to that ball first. You know, when this is played here, when it's sort of in the open space to be won, he is by far the second favourite for that ball. He should never be getting there first, and yet he wants it more, and he makes sure that he gets it. Absolutely amazing sliding tackle there. It actually turns into a really, really good pass. And again, Pedri, he's on hand, does the simple thing, does the right thing, plays the ball into Gavi, who again, he is affecting games now. He is really starting to find his groove. He gets his head up. It's a wonderful pass there, just whips it and lofts it in behind to Lamine Yamal. But look at that touch from Yamal there. He actually collects that ball in midair. He's sort of spinning as he's doing it there. It's an absolutely incredible first touch from Yamal. Brings the ball down, and he's only got one idea in his mind there. He's making his way towards goal. He's 1-on-1 with the keeper, and he said he wants to score more goals. We know what he can do in terms of assists. We know what he can do in terms of dribble. He's absolutely incredible. We know he can score more. He can be more clinical himself. And this was the moment to do it there. It's an absolutely brilliant finish. Very, very clinical. That is what we want to see from him. And hey, what about the celebration there? Moving over to the fans, arms crossed. You know, that right there, that is very, very special. And I do have to say, shades of Neymar in that celebration. He has spoken a lot about him again this week. Yamal often does. One of his idols there. Growing up, he absolutely loved watching Neymar. And this is a young man right now who is really, really enjoying his football. Great to see him back tonight. Absolutely fantastic. And I also want to say, guys, it was actually also great, and not because I didn't want to see him, but it was great to see him go off. You know, at 2-0, 62 minutes gone in the game, Firmino came on in his place, and like I say, I want to see him out. You know, I don't want to see him not out there, but I also want us to look after him. So I was actually really, really happy tonight that when we had the lead, he'd done what he needed to do. He got us a really important goal, you know, put us well on our way, and I was glad to see us. Just rest him, just save him there in the latter stages of this game. That is the way that it should be done with taking care of Yamal. But guys, it should have been 3-0. And yet again we're seeing, and again it's another chance in front of goal for Lewandowski. It's a massive one there. Ball across the box. You know, this is bread and butter. These are the kind of finishes. He knows what he's doing in this area. That has to be 3-0 Barca. That should be absolutely game over. And this is what I mean. Those kinds of misses there, opportunities to put the game to bed and you don't take them, they can come back to haunt you, and they very nearly did, because then again, we had to make another change. You know, I think Gavi, very similar to Yamal, he went down with a bit of discomfort. I don't think Barca wanted to take any risks at all with him, so even with 20 minutes to go, he came off too. Frenkie de Jong comes on in his place. Lewandowski also went off to be replaced by Ferran Torres, and then Athletic Club, they have a goal disallowed through offside. And I thought here they actually moved the ball. They worked it very, very well. Their lovely reverse pass it was into Oscar de Marcos, who finished it off really, really well. And it was just offside. Marginal again. But look at the back four. Look at the defence there, right on the 18-yard line. That is a top defensive structure there. Really well done. Catching them offside. That is what you want to see. But then the second time this happened, it's not really great defending from Barca. And I think I've got to be honest here, guys. We massively got away with one. And when I say we, I mainly mean Frenkie de Jong. You know, he came on. He actually did very well going forward when he came on. He had a shot cleared off the line. He also made a really good run just after coming on. But defensively, I mean, what is he thinking about here? For me, it looked as though he just passed the ball to Iñaki Williams. It looked as though he didn't really know what was behind him, you know, who he was picking out. It looked as though he passed it straight into the path of Iñaki Williams, who went on to score. Now, we were incredibly lucky that when VAR really did look into this, and I was surprised they did, I was even more surprised when it was ruled out, there is a very, very slight deflection from an Athletic Club player. Now, I don't believe they meant to play a pass, you know, they didn't really deliberately do it, but luckily in the end, the very final touch, it comes off an Athletic Club player. But like I say, Frankie there, he massively gets away when he makes a big mistake. He plays the ball blind. Iñaki Peña races onto it. He does score, but it is disallowed in the end, guys. But one thing I would just say, as that game went on there, we saw a few more changes. Eric Garcia came on for Marc Gasardo. Gerard Martin also came on for Alejandro Balde. That was all the subs that we used in the match. No Pablo Torre. I was really expecting him tonight. Maybe not to start. I could maybe understand him not being in that starting lineup. But even when Yamal came off, has Fermin done more than Pablo Torre recently to come on in his place there? And especially then in the final moments of the game, I thought maybe he's going to get 10 minutes, maybe he's going to get 15, to get no minutes at all. Really surprised there tonight for me. Given the way he played in the Copa del Rey, given the way that he's played when he has gotten a chance this season, I was a bit disappointed there, I've got to say, that we didn't see Pablo Torre on the night. But hey guys, it was a big win for Barca. It was a much-needed performance, a much-needed win against a top team. Athletic this season are playing very well. And now we will move on to the Supercup final. However, guys, as I did mention there, it has been a really busy day, a really eventful day. If you're a Barca fan, you've certainly been looking out at the news today, and we're going to be going over lots of the big topics that have been circulating today. And if we do start here with the whole Raphinha situation, I think that's really important here, just to make sure we cover and make sure we do address in today's video, because before this game even took place, it was Raphinha who took his spot in the pre-match press conference. And as you've known, if you ever heard Raphinha in interviews there, he is a very honest guy. If he's asked a question, he will face up to it very directly. We've heard him in the past being very self-critical. If something isn't right, even in his own game, he will be the first to admit that. And of course, in the press conference, inevitably, he was asked about the Olmo and Pau Victor situation. What are your thoughts on that situation? And what is the feeling like within the squad? Has it affected things? Has it affected the mood within the team? And he said, I think the Olmo-Pau situation, it hasn't really been good, and it could affect future signings for Barca. He said, I can't tell you that it wouldn't, otherwise I would be lying, and I don't like to do that. He said, the truth is, if I was at another club and I saw this situation, I don't know if I'd think it was the right club for me. He said, but look, when I came, I knew the situation of the club. I waited myself until the last possible moment, and I do not regret anything. And I think most people, guys, when they heard Raphinha there say those words, I think there's a level of understanding, because all of us Barcelona fans can sort of hold our hands up and say right now, it hasn't been good. It hasn't been a good look. That is not the way that we should operate. We shouldn't have players there who've been signed to this club waiting around, training, but not even knowing if they could play. That is unacceptable. We've all spoken about that. So you can understand where Raphinha is coming from. But I think the media then, they really jumped on this, because then after the press conference, when the training session in the evening took place, well, who did we see together? Of course it had to be Raphinha alongside Joan Laporta. I think the media then pounced on that. We were seeing big headlines like Laporta took Raphinha aside, that he didn't like what he said in the press conference, he was really angry with him, needed to tell him, look, you can't say that, you can't speak openly about these kinds of situations. And I honestly believe that is absolute nonsense. If you actually watch this exchange here, it's actually Raphinha who approaches Laporta. It's not the other way around. It's not as though here Laporta has grabbed Raphinha, taken him to one side to give him a real talking to. It seemed to be an exchange between two people who know each other very well. They've been around each other now for several seasons, several years at the club, and they were just talking. And then at the end of it, there's a perfectly nice, perfectly fine exchange between the two of them before Raphinha goes off and joins the group. And apparently there, according to other sections of the media, when this video that's circulating was actually taken, Laporta wasn't even aware, apparently, of what Raphinha had said in the press conference. Not everybody is on Twitter, not everybody's keeping up to date with the latest news. Laporta probably doesn't have his notifications turned on for the latest updates on the club. He probably didn't even know what had been said. So I think there, guys, the media looking to really blow that one up, blow it out of proportion. But Raphinha, he spoke honestly, he spoke a lot of the truth, let's be honest, and I don't really think there's enough there to really go further into that. And that's because, well, we do have an update, and a very big one on the topic there of Dani Olmo and Pau Victor's registration situation, because the big update right here today is the court have officially granted a precautionary measure. Now this, remember, is what Barca were hoping for there. There was a little bit of doubt as to whether they would get it, but now they have a precautionary measure from the court, which basically means, as of right now, immediately at midnight tonight, Dani Olmo and Pau Victor, they can play. That is the bottom line here. They are able to play, potentially, in the Supercup final. That's the way that it looks right now, that they will be there for that game. However, what I want to stress here is, although we have a precautionary measure, although we're very relieved that Olmo and Pau can both play as of right now, this is not quite an all-out win yet for Barca. You know, we haven't actually won all-out in court yet. This is only a temporary measure, a temporary victory that hopefully it will turn into a win. Hopefully, in the end, we will get the decision that we are looking for. But whilst all of that goes on in court there, Barca making their case, also La Liga and the RFEF, they have to defend themselves now. They have to defend the decision they made. So all of that is going on. But whilst it does, remember Barca submitted 52 pages, 60 documents there that need to be analysed in court. Whilst all that is going on, Pau Victor and Dani Olmo, they can play. And although I have said before, they will need a little bit of time. You know, tonight would have been way too soon for them, even if they could play, which it doesn't. It only comes in at midnight tonight. Their temporary registrations, but they will be back in the team again. They will start to feel like players again. They have the opportunity to play, and I just think you only have to look tonight at the smile that Dani Olmo had arriving into the stadium. I'm sure there is so much relief there, happiness just to know that he can play, that we are moving at least in the right direction, and hopefully, like I say, in the end, we get the big win and the final result that we are looking for. That remains the club's big hope. But then we move on, guys, to Ronald Araujo's situation. Now, this to me personally, this is a real developing situation right now. When we first heard these rumours about Juve being interested in Araujo, about him maybe being open there to a move to Italy, I think we all saw it and thought, well, maybe that could happen, maybe there is some truth in it, but we needed to wait for more, more in-depth details on this whole situation. And I would just like to say right now, this is actually getting serious now. This is actually moving in a very interesting direction. We are hearing more and more reports about Araujo being open to leaving Barca, and there is momentum behind that Juventus interest. And right now, guys, it may not even just be Juve. Looking at the January window here, they seem very intent on making a move quickly. We've heard about Juve there trying to approach Barca in the coming days, maybe even after the Supercup has taken place here. They want to make this happen as soon as possible, and if everybody agrees, it actually could happen. And like I say, it may not just be them. Arsenal as well apparently are very much keeping tabs on what Araujo's situation is, and apparently, if Araujo communicates to the club that he is open to leaving, that he does want to leave, for instance, to Juventus, then Barca will open negotiations. They will not hold him back. They will not insist that he stays. If he wants to leave the club, remember, with only 18 months left on his contract, Barca will well and truly open the door. And I've got to say, guys, I am quite surprised that all of this is starting to take shape. I am, because just remember how eager Hansi Flick was, to get him back fit again, how excited he was about Araujo slotting into the heart of his defence, and now to already be saying, before we've even seen Araujo properly in the team again, that he could be leaving the club. But I think ultimately here, it comes down to the contract situation. Barca know here, they are running out of time. They can't afford to wait and wait and wait for Araujo, for Frankie de Jong as well. They need these players to either commit their future, or we have to get some money in. There's no in-between here. We cannot wait for them to run down and lose them for absolutely nothing in the end. So if Araujo does want to leave the club, if he doesn't want to stay here long-term, and he hasn't always jumped to say, I want to be here, I want to stay here long term. He's kind of left his future quite open over the past year or so. And I think he's also still hurting from that PSG game, from the criticism. Maybe he's still feeling a bit hard done by maybe from that game. So that may play some sort of a part. But what do you make of it, guys? Can you see Araujo leaving the club? If he has to go, if we are going to be open to selling him, if he wants to go, how much money would you accept? What kind of offer would you be looking for? And what would be the minimum amount that you would accept from Juve in January with 18 months left on his deal, which is a decent amount of time, but it would probably have to happen now to get the maximum kind of price that we would be looking for, guys. So please let me know all of that in the comments down below. And of course as well, guys, please do let me know all of your thoughts on tonight's victory in the Super Cup against Athletic, courtesy of Gavi and Lamine Yamal on his return. I'm going to be interested to hear from you on everything that we have talked about today. I hope you've enjoyed the extended match review, and of course I will see all of you very, very soon indeed. Thank you for such amazing support. I'll catch all of you soon. But until next time, as always, Vejka, Real Barça.